Mayor, I'd like to resume where we left off.
Okay.
One more point on the Parks and Rec Director. Just an afterthought. If we did the half-year effective for that position, realistically hiring for it would be dumb for anybody to accept that job, not knowing if it's even going to be there 6 months later. I mean, if you started hiring January 1 and somebody applied and got hired that day, in 6 months, they don't know if the position's still going to exist or even going to be funded for the next year. So I don't think it's realistic to even put it in there for 6 months to hire or make it effective for only 6 months. Either fund it or don't, but I don't think 6 months is going to entice somebody to want it, not knowing the job's going to be there the following year.
That wasn't the intention. The intention was that it would be funded beyond that, but we've got 6 months to look at it and come up with a job description that we all agree on.
I'm okay with that if we commit to funding it next year fully, but leaving it open is a problem.
We only adopt a one-year budget,
Yeah.
so
Well,
let's say we were
understand.
to adopt that and fund it fully, get to half, and our plan is to get to half year before we actually hire. We'd only spend half the money, but the guy we hired, or the woman we hired, would never, there's no way to know that we'd fund it again the next year. I mean,
Not
what
committing on anybody
reassurance would we give them?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we can
realistically-
say and put on the record that it's our intent to fund this long-term. We can do that.
Realistically, I don't think anybody would want to come fill the job not knowing the position's not going to be there 6 months down the road. That's the same problem they have with a part-timer, right now. So it's just a thought. Either way, I'm ready for a recommendation from somebody.
Okay.
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion that we fund it for one half, starting in January of 2019. The position will be permanent after that time. For this year's budget, we will just budget half the amount for a half year. And between now and December, we'll establish the positions, its definitions, and to everyone's comfort before it ever goes out, and it shall be posted after the first of the year, within the first month of January.
Yeah, if agreement is reached on.
Right, that's why I'm saying,
Pending agreement reached on the job description
All right.
itself.
That's why I said, yeah.
So we had the motion. Is there a second? We can discuss if
I
there is.
second and move to amend
Okay.
the original motion only with regard to making it permanent, because realistically, we can't do that forever, but permanent until reorganization might eliminate.
That's fine.
Or
All right. So we have an amendment. You accept the
I'll
amendment?
accept that and second it.
We'll just vote on the amendment. All right. Any further
First,
discussion
yeah.
on the amended motion? If not, then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right.
Yeah.
That's good. We'll get that in the record.
Okay.
Okay. So we're on page 7.
Yes, sir, and still under Parks and Rec. It shows line 691 contractual services. There was a $5,000 reduction on invasive plant management. Melody's not here, and I don't know if she's discussed anything with you, David, but I don't know that that's a wise move with the invasive species we have in this area and the various parks we do have to maintain. And that was not under the original proposal.
I don't remember.
691.
Yeah.
That's for the kudzu and that kind of thing that we've got out there.
Yeah.
How's that going, by the way? We've not had any update on any of that.
Yeah, that's page 7, line 691 there.
We're gonna have to get the guy that does the spray before the town to spray that area. Everything down there, even back in the woods.
Yeah.
It's all gonna have to be sprayed.
Yeah, I don't know that it's wise to cut money from that.
Should we leave the 16.5 in there?
That's my recommendation.
I'm still not up with it. Show me where you are, Steve.
691.
Page 7.
Page 7.
Okay, that's the problem on the wrong page. All right, I got you now, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That 16.5 is all, contract.
Yeah, it's, as
That's
far
what
as
we
I
pay somebody to
know.
come in. Yeah,
Be spraying.
okay.
Can we agree on that?
I do.
Not eliminate the 5, leave it at 16.5 originally presented and agreed to?
Yeah, especially with all the rain we've had that cuts
Well-
and takes off.
I'm sorry, I said originally agreed to, but we never did agree on Parks and Rec budget, so.
Right.
And again, I want to make the point that last year and this year, I requested a $10,000 money in there for Flowering Bridge, but Ron saw fit to only put 5 from the get-go, even though his original letter said it funded the 10, and I didn't catch it until after we'd been through a couple of iterations of it, so I'm going to leave it like it is. And that money for the Flowering Bridge this year is, they're supposed to use that to help get them a well dug and
Right.
go on to a water system that takes them off of town water.
Right.
And that's what that's supposed to be partially used for. So,
I don't want
because,
to chase this rabbit too far, but would it make sense for us, they're wanting to do that, I guess, because the town water rates are so high.
they don't pay the water. We do. We provide them with town water. They don't actually pay, but we have approximate figures of what it costs, and I don't know if I still have that with me. I went over that with the
I don't want to get into a discussion on that, but I just think that bears making sure that's the most economical way to get water there. If the water that we have is adequate in supplying it, just because it comes out of a different pot.
Well, and it's treated too. We're providing them with the treated water that we
Yeah.
pay to treat, and this would be going to a well system, which would be untreated, and probably even better for the plants, without the chlorine mixed in it. But
Suppose I shouldn't ask why we don't have some kind of system to use the river water.
I asked that.
we did that
Yeah, we beat that.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, let's beat it again.
Well,
Maybe,
Wayne-
maybe the bureaucrat that didn't want to do it then's gone.
It's Wayne Hyatt, he's still around. And his comment was that sometimes that if there's any kind of pollution or any chloroforms, whatever the bacteria is in there.
Coliforms, yeah.
Yeah, coliform, that you don't want to aspirate that out there where people are walking around, that's what he said.
Who'd have thunk it?
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, we were all prepared, John, to spend the money and put in a foot valve, and, I mean, you know, in the river, pump in the river, and had it all set up, and it was the spraying of it that caused Wayne great concern.
That's what I'm doing in my yard, so if I'm not here one day, that's what.
Coliforms
Yeah,
got
I
you.
got
But
coliform.
I guess a well,
That's what I've been doing in my yard for 22 years, and I'm still here, so I thought I'd beg to differ with that assessment.
But really, we beat that dog to death for a couple, I don't care if they have a well or not. We were in that was the plan and the direction that was agreed upon back then.
Maybe if we only give them 5,000.
Among all the parties involved.
Yeah, we could don't give the money, they'll figure it out.
So. But like I said, I was willing to leave that at the 5, not the 10 anyway. So,
All right.
Okay.
Because it wasn't there, so.
Okay,
All right.
we'll leave it.
And we settled on the 16.5 as opposed to 11?
Yep,
Okay, good.
you got that?
All right, I had nothing else on that page.
No,
Mhm. Nothing on beach and marina, and then we're into golf now, right? So,
Yeah, nothing in golf.
nothing
That
in
one.
golf. Now we're on page 8.
I had a question initially under Lake. It did not show the COLA for that department like all the others, but I checked with Sam and he said the actual numbers shown do include the COLA. So those will all adjust.
got the new item under that one.
Line, what? Yeah, well, no, what, Bob?
New item, a boat.
No, that's later under capital.
Okay.
Under line 213, supplies. Okay. At our May 30th meeting, that line was reduced $500. So the actual total should be 75. On line 214, supplies department, that line was reduced $500 at the May 30 meeting, so that should only be 3,000. Line 217, supplies uniforms, at the May 30 meeting, that line was reduced $200, so it should only be 500. I had questions about travel and transportation, and I asked for specific requirements for the continuing education for lake manager qualifications on May the 30th, and I'm still waiting on that, so I'm not ready to agree to that line yet.
Do you have an update on that, Dean?
I'll print the stuff off from Nolan's and send you guys the information, what it says for the requirements.
Okay, thank you. Under line 697, silt removal, we're budgeting 400, yet we just approved a contract for 432. I had a discussion with Sam yesterday on do we need to increase that, or where does that extra money come into play? And if y'all aren't real sure, then maybe you should explain to them, Sam, what you did to me.
You can put the 32 in there if you want. What I told Stephen was that this year we haven't spent the full amount of that money. I believe it was 425 we budgeted this year.
Oh,
This
no,
year.
400 this year, 325 last year.
325.
Right.
And we haven't spent that money this year, so eventually it rolls into the fund balance, and then next year we can capture that 32
Okay.
to transfer it over if we need to.
Out of that balance.
Okay, so for our purposes here, leaving it where it is works.
You know, whatever you want to do.
And isn't there a possibility of FEMA money as well coming?
Yeah, and we show that on the, the FEMA money will come in and we'll put it back into the fund balance when that comes in.
Okay.
And that was all I had on that page. Does anybody else have anything?
I just want to check, how you come in on your fire truck? We hadn't seen or heard anything on that.
That was supposed to be brought up in your May meeting, and Ron never called me up to talk about it. So we were going to address that as far as email with you guys. I'm $1,300 over budget. It's at $61,300 for the fire truck, for the rescue truck. I shouldn't say fire truck, rescue truck. So
What fire truck?
You got any details, pictures, equipment, anything?
it'll be if we go the route that Ron Morgan had spec'd out before he left, it'll be a brand new F550 chassis with a utility body on the back of it, and it's a custom built utility body to equip all the rescue equipment that we require for that.
What fire truck you talking about? Was this the one that was supposed to be a wash with
Yeah, this is
FEMA
one
money
that
and
was
all
used-
that?
Yes, that's correct. With the-
But we're over?
$60,000 of
We
the
asked back
FMAG
then.
money was approved to
Right.
spend on the rescue truck.
Yeah.
I'm at $61,300, and that was a conversation I was getting ready to have with Shannon,
Yep.
that we were gonna talk to you guys about approving that extra $1,300, and try to get it out of my budget this year before,
So was it in this year's budget?
That's not in here though, is it?
no, it should not.
It's a this year issue? Yeah,
We were trying to get that
Yes.
accomplished
done,
before.
yeah, before the
June
end
30th.
of June.
Oh, I see, he's looking at line 503.
That's correct.
No, thanks for the
Yeah.
reference. Yeah.
You want to roll
There's a bob
into
in
next
the
year's budget what was already approved because you didn't have an opportunity to spend it, but you need a little bit more on it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
We can work it that way.
yes.
So,
I'll go, I think we ought to go and approve if you're getting a new chassis.
It'll
Right.
be a brand hammer new truck, no miles.
Okay.
Are we gonna have to pay for cover for it, or we got a place to park it?
No, we'll have a place to park it because it's gonna replace our existing Dodge truck. that we
Okay,
have.
good. We're
We'll get
replacing
rid of
one
the
of
Dodge.
Okay.
Don't we need to bill Ron Morgan the extra 1,300 since he
I'm
said
okay
it would
with
not
that
cost
too, whatever
us?
y'all want to vote on.
I'd like for us to go ahead and approve that so you get moving on it, get it done, because if you got a new 550 chassis, that diesel,
Yeah, it'll be a F-550 Ford with a diesel motor, full-wheel drive,
pretty good deal.
yeah.
So how do we do it? Do we just add 1,300 to this year? Is that how we do that, or what?
Put 1,300 on next year, add it to the,
Let's
60
do it.
that you already had on.
Let's do it this
that you're
year.
rolling
This year.
over.
Is he wanting to
I'm
spend it out of
talking
this
this
year's
year.
budget?
There's also a 3% highway use
Oh.
tax that I'll have to add to the cost of that, so if you guys want
I don't know.
Are we wanting to purchase that in this year or move it over to next year?
If we could do it
to,
this
if it
year,
makes it easier, we can just roll it over to next year.
Well, we've already got it in, we've got 60,000 in this year.
Right. I'm gonna, Sam, you want to speak to that as to how that has to happen?
Go ahead. Is it ready to be purchased?
I have all the quote, I just gotta tell them go on it.
Okay. So Sam,
When you say go on it, what does that mean?
I have all the quotes, all the specs and,
Do they have
everything
to
is
build
already.
it?
I'm sorry.
Do they have to order it and build it?
They will have to order the truck and,
So it probably won't come in until next year.
right.
that's
and
right.
you're gonna roll the 60,000 in
Yes.
the next year?
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that. We can
Okay,
do that.
because it's
through-
zero on here for next year is what I'm saying.
Yeah, we can do that through a budget adjustment,
Okay,
if you want to do that. Just leave it off.
but the money's already here, so it's not gonna
Yeah.
Right, yeah, we don't.
all but the 1,300 plus 3% tax.
So we leave it off, the 18-19 budget, we order it, and then when it comes in, we do a budget adjustment.
Okay,
We
just
do
go
that.
ahead,
Does that work?
if the board agrees, let's go and go ahead and get it going.
Yeah, budget amendment later. I got that, no problem.
You
But
got
we
it?
need to put anything in here, we need to put that 1,300 in here now, plus the,
3%.
We can
okay.
take care
We
of
can do
it.
that.
we're good, okay.
Do I need to wait till
Order it.
January 1 to order?
Do we need to
No,
make a
we're-
motion or something? Do we, you want to make a motion?
No, I want you to
It's
go,
in there, so he
Yeah.
can go ahead and order it,
order it now
and then we'll take care of it.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
get her done.
Yeah, order it does.
Okay, so we're now on page 9.
Yes, sir.
These are the capital items
Yep,
in the operating budget.
right.
All right,
Page 9, Steve, Mr. Weber.
Go, Steve.
Yeah, do we, looking at line 573, do we need to do anything with regard to the restrooms and that money? I know you talked briefly about it. We're gonna do budget ordinance, is that it?
Yeah, we don't, because it won't really affect the budget, because
Okay.
it's a loan, we'll show it a loan, proceeds on the revenue side, and then we'll show the expenditure on the expenditure side, so it just washes that budget. But then we'll have to, budget debt service for it.
Okay. All right,
Which
well,
is already budgeted.
everything else
I got
on
you.
this page is correct according to what we previously discussed, so I had nothing else there. You go to the top of the next page.
Wait a minute, somebody else.
Oh,
might
I'm
have
sorry,
something to say.
excuse me.
And I had a question,
Yeah,
Commissioner Weber,
Yeah.
if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sam, the 94,000, that, back on the restrooms again. So you got it, debt service programmed to take care of the $94,000 loan. And what I said before is, if we can't get it done for 94,000, we're gonna have to either borrow more money or take something out of fund balance with a budget amendment. And I don't know that we're gonna get that done for $94,000. So the 94 was supposed to take care of the design, project administration, and construction. And I don't see that project happening for
Of
$94,000.
course, the loan probably won't kick in until,
After the work's done.
after it's done.
So then we can borrow more to cover the cost, is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying that the 94, or the 9,400, I think we have budget in principle, we probably could make that up, because that's budgeted for the whole year, And once the project gets started, you would think it would take a few months to get that project started. And we go out to bid for the loan, it probably won't hit the whole year payments. You know what I'm saying?
Our hopeful
Yeah.
timeline is to have it completed by March 31st, right? Wasn't that correct on the,
For the restrooms?
yeah, the.
Well, hopeful. We
Yeah,
had talked
the
about
hopeful
it. It's been
timeline for
moved to fall
completion
now.
of construction would have been March 31 under the new timeline. So the loan would kick in after
Yeah,
that.
and the loan will kick in, so there's
Okay,
flex.
we've got time, I got you,
Right,
I understand
yeah,
that.
That's what I was thinking.
I got you, okay.
Okay.
More like, it's gonna come in more than 80,000, which is what we had left.
Right.
So, but we'll take care of it, okay, all
I
right.
think,
All right.
yeah, I think we can take care of it.
I'm
right.
done on page 9.
Okay, now we still, is this where we need to talk about Dean's boat?
That's next page.
Next page, okay, I'm trying to get you both here.
Um,
I'm working. This page looks like where it should
The
be.
Marina Walkway,
We're still on 9, right?
we're still on page 9, 561. Which, all right, where's the 150,000 being spent on the Marina Walkway?
That is as I understand it, half of the estimated design fee for
Okay.
that project, for
Okay.
that,
That's surveying, engineering, and design.
and it's half of it.
You're right.
Because
Right.
we straddled the year.
Right.
Yeah, It
Okay.
was 3.
Getting it off dead center, yep.
And when we get down to, the 592, the street, this is in addition to the Powell bill, or this is
That's
total?
Powell bill and,
68.
street work.
Is
Okay.
what we get from
It's
the
a whole
Powell
kit-
bit,
It's a whole kit and caboodle. The
Uh-huh.
Powell bill, the revenues that we receive are probably about $67,000.
There you go.
Okay, so
Yeah.
67
100 and
plus,
some thousand.
Plus, yeah,
okay.
or minus, yeah.
So about 120 roughly is the additional
Outside.
funding we put in there based on the road
Yep.
report
And
we
the,
got.
and the cart paths is for the golf course.
That's correct.
Okay.
This shows 68.9 projected revenue for Powell bill.
60 yard.
And then we're looking here again about a penny putting extra into roads after the report. We're still only spending half of what that report
Yeah.
generated.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
There's a penny there just for roads and repairs, so,
Yeah, even a full penny still wouldn't complete it.
no, that's half of what's recommended.
So, yeah, did anybody else have anything that
No,
page?
no,
I didn't, no. So that brings us to
Oh, thanks
page,
for asking.
that brings us to page 10.
Yeah, okay, up at the top is where I wrote, and I mentioned to you guys the other day, we need to add that and buy that boom now and not wait for the next critical storm to occur. And Dean updated some information and has provided it to us. Original boom paperwork showed a length of 123 feet, but this is more accurate, I think, well over that. What's the final number you came up with?
The number they gave us was 27,362.64. And I would like to add $1,000 to that for the anchoring system, which is they don't supply an anchoring system.
Think that'll do $1,000, we'll do
Yeah,
that?
I spoke to Tim Edwards about putting 2 to 3,000 pound concrete block buried in the land on Morris Park side and on the Boys Camp Road side. And I asked him, supply the block and bury them to where we need them done, and he said, no more than $1,000.
Okay, what about
Are you sure
cabling and mounting the hardware?
That comes in the kit with the boom.
Okay, I'll recommend to you, Dean, I would actually double that.
Okay.
Are you,
Anchor.
are
That
you
just makes us
sure
an
that
even
that-
30.
That those blocks buried like you're talking about is sufficient to anchor it?
Yes, I spoke with their engineers, and they said that would far exceed what they would recommend,
Okay.
holding it.
One thing I noticed in these pictures in here, Dean, that, where they've got these in front of the dams and stuff, we're gonna have a whole lot faster moving water
Yeah.
than what's depicted in these pictures. So we need to go on the, you know, the extreme side, in my opinion, compared to what they show here, just because of when you got that water coming down the river like it does, and got logs and houses and maybe one day some cars or something. You know, we need to really be sure that thing is anchored.
And he can get those blocks, they weigh, 1,750-pound blocks, those 3-foot or 4-foot long ones. I'd tandem them up and wrap all the way around both at the same time. I put 2 blocks still. But yeah, the weight of this, like John's talking about with that high water, you see what it did to our boat docks. And that's really kind of the equivalent, other than you're going to turn it across that river. I just severely, like John says, overdo it. And my recommendation would be to take this number to 30,000, and then that way you got enough to.
Regarding John's comment and a conversation I had with Kevin yesterday, and part of this study there, and Dean, I talked to you the other day. The company was talking to you about what velocities and stuff we're talking, and that's the strength of the stream. But along with what Kevin's doing there on the dam work, they're going to have these hydrologic studies and all, and the amount of flow and that kind of stuff that might have been dumped in. Wasn't that correct, Kevin? During this past storm, that would give us a more accurate picture on the velocity we might be dealing with. The other thing I looked at in the picture, all of these come to a point over behind the current dredging pits. All the lines are coming to the point by the current dredging pit. And if we're looking at moving our dredging pits to the Boys Camp Road property and abandoning these as dredging pits and redesigning them as park area and amphitheater or stuff according to the Morse Park plan, if we're looking at that, do we want all of that debris coming into that focal point? Is that where you're going to be opening it up and trying to get it out from that focal point? Or are we going to be trying to remove it from Morse Park? See, the whole idea, one of the ideas of moving the dredging pits out of Morse Park is so you no longer have all that heavy equipment and stuff moving around in Morse Park. So are we...
Basically, it was getting access to the debris, and which would be easiest through the Morris Park side of the land. If you go to the Boys Camp Road side, it's elevated quite a bit, and it's getting the debris, that distance up and into a dump truck. And the way we had chose the yellow boom, those are 3 of them that their engineers laid out, and they put them at that angle, so it would push the debris
towards this shore.
Yeah, toward this shore. And then you got kind of level ground, easy enough to put a track hoe in. A track hoe with a thumb can just reach and keep going straight from the lake to a dump truck. There's no piling up like we have at Morris Park or anything. It's just...
Is the intent to leave this in place most of the time and catch everything that comes down during the regular, or only during predicted heavy storms?
It'd be pulled back.
Yes, sir. It'll float in the river on the Boys Camp side, just along the riverbank. And when we have projected storms or we see things coming, I could go out there on a boat and pull it to one side and then cable it off to the other anchor, which the only thing you'll see from the other anchor, like Bob's talking about, you'll just see just a piece of steel coming out of the ground. The barriers would be completely underground and have grass on them.
Well, keep in mind that shoreline is where the conversation and the planning was talking about the non-motorized boat launching, which would be the pier, or at least half of that 400-foot pier or dock there, and also having it go down that shoreline, even if you open it up to let it flow some, that's going to destroy all that fishing and stuff along the shoreline that people do now. So just things to think about. And how does it being there and flowing there fit within the overall Morse Park plan that was just done?
Any way to move it a little further?
As a result, do we need to change the specs on it? The length and so on.
Dean, these folks, the Worthington Products, came down and looked at it here, or they just do it from photographs or what?
They just done it through Google Earth, looking at the lay of the land.
All right. And do they have any kind of what assurances do they give that it's gonna work?
They've got two different kinds of booms. They've got this boom, well, they've got several different kinds, but for our
Yeah.
application, they have two.
Right.
They have this one, and then they got one that is superior to this one, which is about twice the cost. After looking at our flows of, how fast our water moves at feet per second and what we changed the lake elevation and stuff, they told me that this one here would be perfect for ours. I've told them the violence of the storms that we get, the debris loads that we get, and he assures me, he says, this will hold back what you want to hold back.
That's good.
Also, we need to place those floating docks in this scenario too somewhere,
Yes.
and maybe break them in half, you know, like you talked
Well,
about.
they're already broken.
Yeah, yeah. Just not put them back together, it's just.
So I would still like, and your cost was what,
27,362,
Okay.
and some change.
Okay.
I still recommend budget at least 30,000.
All right. Yeah, I agree, at least 30. And right now, it's in the FY 2021 CIP for 40. Of course, that would come out. But yeah, I think we need to go ahead and budget it and then iron out the things that I just talked to you about. And make sure we have deconflict the Morse Park plan with placement of this and plans of using that, and the dock. Consider all of that.
We're using this number, we're just putting about a $2,700 contingency in there.
Right.
And maybe that can be used for relocating the dock or whatever you have to do.
Dean,
That sounds good.
when not in use, would this just lay back against this shore?
No, the
It's
Boys
the
Camp.
Camp
so-
side.
Oh,
The
they'd
far
be,
side of the river.
Yeah,
okay.
which is the,
Yeah.
Now, it wouldn't block this little stream that comes in, that goes by, that comes up out over here.
Comes off
Church
of-
Street.
I don't anticipate it doing that. It'd be a
Is
little
there-
further.
We wouldn't want to do that because some people use that.
There's boats that use that.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably gonna be an area where a dredge tries to stay out of the storm front
Yeah.
also.
Right.
But yes, I'll make sure that whatever we do there, it doesn't impact.
And they're recommending the yellow line here?
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
And one thing I'd like to do is let's have all this worked out for our July council meeting, or is that too quick?
No, I think this is something I can get done.
We can
Because
approve.
season's upon us for storms, so I just, and there'll be a delivery time and all this. But if that doesn't press too hard, I'd like to say, let's have that on the agenda for July's normal council meeting.
Will this factor in at all to what we're doing with Dr. Marks and the dam and all, because it has an effect, we're taking the debris out here before it
I
gets
think
down
so.
there.
I mean, anything we
Would
do
hurt.
like this to
Yeah.
better manage our lake and keep debris off the dam, I mean, that's a good thing for our position with the state,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
What's the estimated
Tim?
ship date would be on this?
She told me that they have it in stock. So this stuff could actually, she said we could have it here in a couple of weeks.
The main thing is getting the
Before we
anchors
ship
in.
it.
Start on
Oh.
that right away.
Probably get the anchors in and be ready when it comes.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if we want to push for July 10th yet. How long do you think it'll be before we get those hydrologic studies you were talking about on the river?
Well, I think
flows and stuff
they have
for
to
the
build what they
velocity?
call an H&H model. It's a pretty elaborate and complex undertaking. I don't think the model will be done, Stephen, probably until late in July. However,
We have to have it by August 1. right?
exactly.
Right, okay.
But however, the model requires a lot of different inputs, and I've already discussed this with Dr. Marks, and he is of the opinion that the upstream portion of the Rocky Broad River has already been modeled. The watershed has been quantified, the flow rates down there. He thinks that information, which would be an input to the H&H model, he thinks that exists. So if we can, that's all we need for this boom discussion. It would tell us the velocity and the volume.
Right.
I'm assuming that information exists right now.
Yeah.
And he's coming this afternoon, so we could
Okay.
ask him how quickly.
Yeah, I'm-
I think if it exists, he should be able to get it in a matter of a days.
Yeah, if we could get it to where
Yeah.
Dean could get it and bounce it off of the folks that sell the stuff, just for verification before we purchase. I mean, I'm okay with July 10th, but if you can't, then I'm okay with the August council meeting too.
I'm fine with that. I'm just trying to get it moving.
I agree,
For
but
the
we do
rules.
need to add
I
it for
think
this
we all
year.
agree we want to do it. Is it possible to go ahead and approve it now with contingency?
On the date?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem. Do you have a
But the
problem?
only thing is, if you come up with hydraulics are different, then
Yeah, well, that's the contingency. If it all falls in line with what we think it's gonna be now, I think I will word that, but if it falls in line with our current assumptions, then I think we're all in agreement that we wanna go ahead with it, right?
well, we do want to go ahead. I can't do that till we confirm it, so. I mean, there's no problem approving it, it's just we need the technical data to
I'm
make
just
sure.
thinking, since we're getting into that season,
Right.
and we could have another one of these storms anytime, it sure would be good to, I see this as a higher priority than some other things that we're, spending money on, that are coming ahead of it almost.
And Dean, you did say that their engineers
That's what I was
made
thinking.
some assumptions or estimates of what the velocity and the volume is based on something. We don't know what that is. And we can, maybe they were conservative. We don't know.
All right, how about this? How about if we, and I won't make a motion unless we, kind of agree on it here. But make a motion, something to the effect of go ahead and approve this to be installed as soon as, you and Dean, since you're the engineer of us, are comfortable with the information that we have on the hydraulics of the river and that this is in fact adequate in what we need. Everybody good with that?
No, sir. Only because the hydrology and the velocity wasn't the only issue.
Yep.
There's other issues about conflicting with the Morse Park plan and the redesignation of the pits and that kind of, those objectives. So I'm okay with purchasing it, obviously. I'm okay with funding it in this budget. But I would like to make sure those things have been deconflicted. And once we know these velocity studies for sure and the impact, and he can talk to them with more accurate figures, it may change the actual boom and the length. So.
Okay.
All right.
I think,
Just hold on.
I mean,
all right, fine, okay.
Okay.
Next.
Yep.
All right. So anything else? We're on page 10.
Yeah, we're still under capital, and that would be the police boat that we were just made aware of as being unserviceable.
So Dean, you have information on that?
Or Lake Ops boat.
Yes.
Patrol boat.
Did y'all get a copy of the,
Nope.
Nope.
okay,
No. Last I got was the email on it, so.
okay. Sean and I had taken a boat up to Black Mountain, the primary boat that we have now. And we had talked to them about some boats. We're looking at cheaper opportunities for actually a better use of a police boat. And in my CIP budget earlier, I'd put in the same style of boat that we have now at $60,000. Well, G3 now has a pontoon boat with a center console on it. It's a 22-foot boat, and with a 150 engine on it that would serve our purpose. Sean and I looked through the pictures and felt like it would be a good boat to have if we have an accident or emergency on the lake. We actually have room on the boat to get people on the boat that we don't have now. And total price for this boat, trailer, everything delivered is $39,516.
New, is it new or used?
It's brand new.
You
It's a
said
Tri-Tune?
G3?
It's G3.
What's that?
It's just a brand of
Brand.
boat. It's, actually, I believe it's built by Yamaha. And it would have a Yamaha 150 motor on the back of it.
Is it Tri-Tune?
It is a Tri-Tune.
So we're talking about using a pontoon boat for lake patrol?
Yes.
A backup.
Well, it'll become the primary boat, being a new boat. It's a short 22-foot tri-tune boat, but we've used a pontoon boat before, which worked out well, but ended up selling that boat because it really wasn't designed for the police boat. The boat we have now it's got some issues when you're trying to patrol. Like if you walk to one side of the boat, the whole boat leans over and starts filling it with water. You gotta keep it balanced.
You talking about the one that just became unserviceable, or the one that we still have for
The
the
one
police
that we still
department?
have. The one that we still have it's got a bimini over the top of it.
Right.
And, it does a good job, but it's still not fully feasible for what we do. A pontoon is more stable, and, we've used one in the past, and it worked out great. This is an opportunity for us to save about $20,000 opposed to trying to buy a V-hull like what we have out here now.
So you're saying that this would be recommended to purchase now, and it would become the primary lake patrol
Yes, sir.
boat
Yes, sir.
for the police and for our summer person that patrols and everything.
Yes,
And the boat we have now would become the backup?
Yes, sir. It would actually be changed from police on the side to lake operations or something. That way, if somebody's out, if town staff is doing inspections and things, they're not labeled as police while they're out there and being assumed as so. But police can still use it and still be equipped with lights, but it's just not marked police on the side of the boat.
Well,
We spent a lot of money on this.
it's got a 150 Yamaha, I've got a 50 Honda on my 25-foot pontoon boat. There's not hardly any place on here at the lake I can't be in 6 minutes.
Right.
I mean, and besides that, if you're chasing somebody, where are they gonna go?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, you can hem them up somewhere, so.
It's not as much as the.
You can run, but you
You can't
Can't get it off the lake in time.
Yeah, I mean, unless they get to go over and run, and then we've got their boat, so, I think that from a practicality standpoint, it's a good move to go this direction from the vehicle.
Now, is this already in stock? He's already got everything?
It'd have to be ordered. It's brand new. 2019 is the first year they're building the center console on the boat. And the center console helps us so much when we're trying to navigate the boat around other boats or somebody in the water, because we can stand up and steer the boat and see all sides of the boat where we're at. And I agree with you, John. We don't need a whole bunch of horsepower. We do need a little speed because, like a couple of years ago, the Cobbett's boat blew up. We need to be able to get to these people fast, but as far as chasing somebody, yeah, they're not going to get away. So,
Do they make a 115 or something like that? I've got a 115 on my 22-footer, and it does 30 miles an hour, so.
right, I could check into that. When I talked to him, he said it comes standard with a 150. It'll go up. You could get options to go all the way up to a 300 on this thing.
Yes.
But it said their power to weight ratio, they feel it's best suited with this 150 motor.
I just check, see what next, like I said, I run a 115 and I tow 2 skiers behind it, no problem.
Right.
With 6 people on board.
Isn't 115 a different design? I mean, I think
That's
it's a
a Mercury.
4-cylinder and the other one goes to a 6-cylinder. Is that right? When you go from 115 to 150, or is it basically the same block?
But they're all,
I'm not for sure.
Okay.
Dean, what about utility, if you want to use it as a workboat, drag a net, or?
It would have, yes.
You may need the
we
extra
could
horsepower
pull
for
with
that.
it And things like that also.
anything over 100 horsepower is
Sufficient.
a ton. Like I said, I had 6 people and 2 on
Yeah.
skis, and no issues. Mine's basically a safe size boat.
And see,
I would say though, watching Eric Kunith try to pull the debris boom, that didn't work out so well
Yeah.
with his pontoon, which I think had a fairly hefty horsepower. He had to go get the ski boat to move that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, that's where our boom's gonna be for in the river.
Yeah, that boom might be done with a winch or something back and forth across there. I don't know the specifics, but it looked like that would, you'd put you know, but maybe even mount it there at the bank. But my other question about the boat was, do we really need a trailer, or are you anticipating leaving it in the lake all year?
Well, we still, yeah, that's our anticipation, but we still have to pull them out to get them serviced sometimes, to get them worked on, or.
I know with my pontoon, I don't have one. They bring it when they go service it. The guy services it and brings it. And I would like to take a good look at that and make sure that we really need it if we're gonna consider buying it, because you know, it has to be stored somewhere. It sits out in the weather. It's always worked well in a lot of situations just to let them come take it out, and we don't have to worry about a vehicle to pull it. We don't have to worry about the trailer, and it's only something you're only doing a couple times a year anyway.
So what do we do on capital for this budget? Do we allocate 40 for allowance for that? But it's an item that has to be replaced.
Any funds left over in this year's budget anywhere? Sam?
I don't think so.
40,000.
But that's with the 150
Right.
and with the trailer. And that's gonna, if we drop down to a 115
Might be.
and no trailer, that's gonna save something. We just don't know what right now.
I can go back.
do that
and
with
have
phone
them
call,
pre-bid. Here, the trailer's showing that it is, $3,050.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know what the difference in the price of the engine would be.
What's the price on the 200? Yeah, the 150 or other.
On the 150, it's $12,053, but that's government pricing on that.
Yeah, that's low. I mean, that's a good price for
Yeah.
for a 150.
Yeah, it is a good price.
It is.
And
yet-
it's a four-stroke, so
Right.
one of our problems with our police boat now is we idle a lot.
Yeah.
So we foul out plugs, and we're all the time having to deal with that. This is a four-stroke, so we wouldn't have that issue behind this.
Yeah.
This price that you got, it doesn't include taxes and so on, does it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, it does? Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good
3%
price,
tax.
I think.
Yeah.
It's an excellent price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would recommend that we add 40 to this capital.
What was your total number, Dean?
I'm sorry?
What was your total number there?
The total
39.
number is 39, 516,
Oh.
84.
Oh, I
All right,
thought
and
it was
and the
37.
trailer was how much?
The trailer was $3,050.
That's included in the 39.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Right.
included, that's lock, stock, and barrel.
Yeah, so 36.5 really get you where you need to be. That's with a 150 horse motor.
I can't see.
I see if we-
Sean thinks it's 3650 on this. 3850, I can't hardly see that.
Oh, it was 38.50.
Yeah.
On the
38.
trailer.
1,516. What are you gonna do with that extra $1,000?
Well,
Just kidding.
the only other thing that we need to do is, we'll need to put vinyl on it, marking it up as a police boat, we'll have to put blue lights on it,
Uh-huh.
which
Is there any salvage value on what we have now?
I'll try. I don't know.
We got a trailer that's worth
Yeah, we
something.
got a trailer, and we got a hole there. There may be something, but
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it'll be.
Yeah,
That's all stuff that could be declared surplus and sold, correct?
yeah,
sir.
yeah. So we'll say 37,000, that gives you 500 for the incidentals. Everybody okay with that?
You mean not buying a trailer?
Yeah, not by the trailer. And I think y'all take a look at, maybe going to a 115 instead of a 150 and see how much we would save there. But, as you go up in those motors, when you go into a different horsepower that's the same block, the difference isn't that much in each increment. But when you get to a point where you're changing the block and a different motor style, then there's a big jump. And I don't know if that's between the 115 and the 150 or somewhere else. I suspect it is. I think that's where that jump is.
Right. I'll look at it and see, and I'll talk to him.
Say if it's over, we'll say if it's over $2,000, we go with the 115. What do y'all think?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable
Yeah.
break
Okay.
point.
Yeah.
Why don't we just say we approve, what was it, you needed 37,000 without the trailer? Give you extra 500
I think
bucks?
Sean's doing the math real quick.
Okay.
If it comes standard with a 150, it
Yeah,
may
if
cost
it-
more.
Yeah. Well, I
You know, if
think
they package it like that,
Yeah,
it may
it could
be,
be.
Oh, I agree.
it may be a
Special.
custom and then they
Okay.
charge
Right.
you.
I
know.
agree.
it could be.
Yep.
Probably a model of motor that's being discontinued next year.
It could be something.
Yeah,
Well, this is the first year they've had the boat.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it was right the first time, 3,050 for the boat trailer. Not the 38, it was $3,050.
Okay, all right, so
So
What's the new number you need there? Give yourself 500 for the
38,
upfit stuff.
So 30,
okay,
3550 is what you, is, if you take 3,000 off of 38.5, that gets you down to 35,500.
Is that the number y'all are looking at?
And then there may or may not be a reduction from that, depending on the difference between the 115 and the 150.
Yeah, I want them to give us a number here.
36,466.
And then 500 for your,
Plus the 500.
right,
Yeah, plus 500 gets you back to 37.
I'll, you back at
37.
36,966, so say
37,
37,000.
yep, 37, do what you can with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
How's that?
And
And I
keep in
will-
mind, you may be able to say, if you can get the other for 2,000 less, do it for 35, but not.
okay, I will do that.
I don't mean to be jumping out front, but if
So we
somebody
need-
doesn't agree with that, say something.
You okay with it?
I just think it's cutting it pretty tight.
Think we need to go another 1,000?
I think sometimes if you don't cut things tight, they don't get good. Let's see what that'll do.
Okay,
Are we authorizing him to go ahead and order the
Yes.
boat
Yeah,
for
and
that?
and if you go,
Yes.
you know, sometimes there's a little wiggle room on the other end too, so, you know, this is what I've got to spend.
Right.
Okay, here's what I can give you for that.
If you let John Moore call me, he'll buy it for about 26.5, I can tell you right now.
So try not to
They'll
leave
take
anything
it
on-
for that just to get rid of him.
Try not to leave
We're-
anything on the table.
So we're agreeing to a 37,000 capital outlay for
Yes.
police
Yeah.
boat, and we need to take that out of your CIP too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we may need to move something else around.
Yeah.
and is this is still wait till July 1?
Well, yeah.
That would be correct. You can order it, but you couldn't get the invoice or pay for it till July 1.
As close as we are, if you tell him I don't have the money till July 1, he'll go ahead and get the boat.
Oh, he'll get it
I
ready.
just want to make sure that,
The check will be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Third time was a charm.
The,
Beat 'em to death with it.
Yeah.
that was all I had under that section, but
Okay.
still on page 10.
Yes.
Under debt service, line 570, you show land, 2 parcels of property. I'd like for you to extend the description, Boys Camp Road, to be specific there.
And put the acres on there.
Yeah, 3.88 acres. And then under non-governmental, line 130, unemployment. Of course, during our meeting on May the 30th, we were told this was telephone. And we approved a $1,000 reduction, not a 2. But then on the next line, it shows a $1,000 reduction also.
What did you
Or
say?
no,
we were-
it does not show a $1,000 reduction, and it should have had a 1,000. So you might have lumped the two 1,000 deductions
In one
together under 2,000. I don't know. But line 130 and 450 should both have had a $1,000 reduction.
Maybe that's why there's a 2,000 on
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
one.
that's what he's saying.
Well, but yeah. So it should have been 7 and 124 is what it should have been.
Now, I have to regress for just a minute. We were talking about this police boat, we're talking about paying for it all at once, but police vehicles, all other vehicles we buy, we finance them because we get such a good rate. Would a boat fall in that same category, Sam?
We can finance a boat. The police vehicle this year, we're purchasing, we're paying straight out. We're paying cash.
We are. Why did we change?
Bob Cameron said we should.
Yep. Yep. We gotta keep our debt down.
He gets an A for honesty.
Yep.
How is our debt compared to what the, state recommends?
We're in great shape.
We are, but I'm a firm believer, just like your household, you keep your debt down.
Well, if I could get
That's-
2%, what's our interest rate?
3 point something,
Yeah, it's probably around there.
3.88, I think it's the last time,
It's
yeah.
gone up.
And it's going up again 2 more times this year, so.
We're not as good as we had.
4% on,
Well, I think it's a decision we should make as a group.
I do.
I agree, I just got the last go around, we paid for it.
Why don't I get that same consideration? If I come by there and say, let's just don't buy this at all, are you gonna honor my request?
Make a,
My request is
Depends on the cost.
this and the police car. And let's try to keep our taxes down.
But when it comes to the question, he's gonna throw you under the bus too.
Don't bother me, eh?
Sam says it depends on cost and benefits.
I could justify no debt anytime.
Concealed weapons are authorized.
You're paying
and Sam
4%
had
a
his
year on
well
everything.
hidden. He just shot Bob.
I don't, well, it doesn't shock me. I don't
Well,
know.
our debt's been good, but it seems to me like we're getting ready to
Yeah, tune it up.
jump in deep
I'm
end.
just saying, you know, every penny we spend's important with what we're looking at
Yep.
spending.
Right.
Sam, on that line 130, I'd like to get, if that's supposed to be telephone,
no, I don't, I'm
That's what
sorry.
was explained
I
to
have
us.
no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I don't- I
okay.
don't-
Yeah.
can you verify what that line is
It's
actually?
unemployment.
For sure.
Telephone is under,
Yeah.
central services.
I saw all that, but during our meeting before, that's what we were told.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Of course, he was tired after working that night.
I'm just worried about 751. What's all, is that bank fees? Is that our payments or what is that?
Yeah, those are just kind of nominal fees that.
Bank charges you everything now, change,
130,000
making deposits.
a year?
No, you're a
I'm sorry,
relax.
Keep going to the bottom.
Relax now.
I
It's
keep
gonna be
going to
okay.
the bottom,
He
yeah.
did that all
relax.
morning.
I did that all morning
Get
reviewing
Fred over
this.
here to get you straightened out.
He did that all
Yeah,
morning.
I got all excited. I kept going to the bottom line.
Would most of that be credit card fees? Because I
That's
know
right.
they're pretty stiff.
Over-the-counter credit card
Right.
fees and just banking fees.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's all I had on page 10.
Okay?
Page 11, I had nothing.
Yep.
Am I correct
For
in
doing
this?
my job.
Oh, no, it's a short page. I
Excuse me.
didn't figure you'd have anything in a short page.
Am I correct in sort of interpreting line 967? Is that like a plug figure? Is that
No,
what
that-
balances the budget, or is that prescribed?
No, that's actually a transfer to our capital reserve fund, and that's
Well-
actually like a 4 cent transfer.
So what, yeah, I probably
So-
misunderstood what I was asking, but, a lot of these budgets, they're zero-based budgets, and so, in a sense, I've seen whatever you've got in revenue, and then you've spent, whatever's left goes into the reserve. Is it,
Right.
but is that what's happening here, or are you saying there is a prescribed percent that we have to put into the reserve account, and therefore we have to make all the other items balance?
Yes,
The second,
yes,
okay, gotcha.
yes. With earmarking 4 cent, we're just taking.
And that's what
4
that
cent.
number is, 4
Yes,
cent.
Yeah, yeah. The balancing figures are contribution to fund balance or somewhere along that line.
Okay, contribution to fund balance, okay.
Are we ready to move on?
Yeah,
Page 1 of 4, under water. I had water and sewer, I had nothing there.
okay, anybody else? All right, go ahead, page 2.
Page 2,
I didn't have anything like the rest of it.
Okay, line 215, that's an $1,000 increase from the original presentation. And the original requested was 161, but what was presented before was 160. So I think you've got the original request in there and not the actual, what was presented. I don't care, where do we want to go, 160 or 161 on that? We previously agreed to the 160 or let it pass.
Said we'll go with what we agreed to.
Okay, so we need to reduce that by 1,000 to 160. Okay. That's all I had on that page.
Okay. Page 3.
Okay, is anybody else still on that page? No.
No.
Okay.
Thanks, Vance.
Page 3 is here. Here's the issue 690, line 690. The current year budget is 137,800, and we dropped to 25. Now, and that's on the sludge, the contract services for the sludge hauling. Now, did we decrease because that much, over $100,000 for a year by buying the geo tube, or is that a $100,000 error?
I assume that was because of the geo tube.
I think it could be $100,000, Stephen. The reason is because the geotube stores the sludge
Right.
over an extended period of time. Right. So in the first year, I'm assuming there is no disposal cost. Isn't that right, David?
I think so.
There is none. So we're just eliminating whatever it had been. Now, eventually, we're going to have to get rid of whatever in there.
Now you've got a waste truck coming.
But it's got like
So-
it's got a 2 or 3 year capacity, as I
A
understand.
long time.
That's a big
The numbers, Ron was a lot more familiar, he was doing with that end of it, but, there's a big difference in the way that we have been doing compared to what we'll be when we get the geotubes installed.
So they're gonna take this geo tube and put it on a flatbed and haul it away?
Water sewer,
Yes,
let's change
once
this
it
stuff
gets
there.
full, they'll,
That's a
and
different
dewater it,
page.
then they'll come in, dig it up, put it
They'll
on the
open it
truck,
up.
haul it to Tennessee.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's toast.
We've got,
You open it up and
there's 4
clean it.
dumpsters down there now that are full, that have been there for, I don't know how many years. And they had to be sampled and sent off and tested, and we thought we had everything there, but then Tennessee called back and asked for additional testing and this and that, so I think all the tests have been done and approved now, so we're waiting to see where we're at from here, once they sign off on it. But it's supposed to save a ton of money compared to what
Okay.
we've
I
been
hope so. We've been paying until May.
Super.
I just wanted to make sure that our numbers there for 690, 691, and 696 and 99 are all correct, or 96 has nothing, tipping fees. But I want to make sure we're right in that area, and I just didn't think that the geo2 would reduce it that much money in the years.
I did not do the numbers on that. The previous manager done those numbers.
I got it, yeah.
And so he was in contact with Keith Webb and them over that. So I don't know where those numbers actually came into play. I had nothing to do with that
Okay.
part of it. So.
Yeah, that could be critical, because I know we were over budget because of that hauling this year. And so I didn't know what effect money-wise that geo2 was gonna have on us. Do we need research on that?
We should
to
probably
verify those?
confirm that.
Yeah.
Let's confirm that.
Yeah.
Shannon and I can go look in his, maybe a file in his
And there's definitely
office.
gonna be an expense to get it set up down there for the geotube.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna have to be a pad established, a drain box, which takes the liquid back to the
Right,
plant,
yeah.
a pump system.
Mhm.
So I don't know if any of that's been figured or how much has been figured for that. But like I say, Ron was dealing with that part of it.
Who's our contact on that, Dave?
Keith Webb,
Yeah, his name.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, okay.
And he's with,
McGill.
okay.
You have a phone number? I mean, you can get him that.
Yes,
copy,
yes, we
yeah,
get in
great.
touch with him. That's what I was gonna do anyway, to figure out where we're at in this process.
Yeah, that concerned me when I saw that, so. That's all I had though on that page.
Okay. So we'll go, oh, no, 3,
Remember now, that's still water and sewer on.
Right.
So,
all right, all right. So then, does that bring us to 11, or did we
well,
not do 10?
no,
Is there
I'm
something
on page
10?
4. I'm on page 4.
Oh, I'm sorry, 4. Yeah, well, how did I get the 10? What's on the back of it?
Oh, that was done.
What is the back of, oh, so that'd be 5 then, right? It goes to 11 on mine, I don't know.
Yeah, I had 11 of 11 and,
Yeah.
and then we went 1, 2, 3, no.
Oh, I'm
3
sorry.
or 3 here.
1, 2, 3 or
Turning
4. Now it's turned to 4.
Okay, sorry, sorry.
So tell me again what page we are really on?
4.
4. It's
I don't know where we're going here.
first line item should be 537 hydro butterfly valves.
That's it.
Okay. And I have nothing there except under debt service. Of course, all those numbers are different from what was the original presentation, but that's, I guess, is to be expected. And then the one we talked about is that sewer system replacement and that payment there where we're showing nothing this year. And we talked about that briefly during the same time we were talking revenues, so.
When does our joint wrapping loan, oh, I see, it's right here, 2032 is when it pays out. Okay. And the,
I keep
630,
running
under 632, the planning and engineering, that is for the, water sewer study, planning and engineering. Should that be in the, come out of the loan proceeds?
That's 0.
Yeah, we
Change it to 0,
budgeted
it's
actually this
57,000.
year, but I guess that fell through. I remember asking Ron about it, and he said we weren't gonna do that.
What was the
John,
purpose?
that's the account
Water and
total.
sewer study?
That's the account total.
Okay,
David?
The next line above it
We were
is,
supposed to do a water. and
okay,
sewer
I'm
study.
sorry, I did.
Yeah, he put money in there and they.
What you got,
applied
25?
for a grant or something.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
we didn't
I
get
got
the
you.
grant.
I got you, I got you.
I think the grant would probably be 50% or something.
I was looking at the wrong line, I'm sorry. I was, I slipped down one line there.
No, I'm sorry, not.
but that's all I had on page 4.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I don't,
Now we're going to page 1 of 2, which is electric fund. Of course, the only thing there so far is the salary, the $37.50 on that
Correct.
on call.
correct.
And I had nothing else on that page, page 1 of 2. I don't know if anybody else had.
We are going to be done with, we think, with repairs or costs on the small generator this year. There's nothing in there for
Yeah.
in the budget for next
There's
year.
nothing in there for the budget, no.
Yeah. And my understanding is we just sent out the tubes, well, the wicket gates
Wicket.
for repair, right?
Yes.
And we,
Department first.
and they should be done in a week or so.
That's what they're saying.
So we're gonna pay that this year, right?
Okay.
Yes, and that, other than putting the thing back together again, which John does, we're not anticipating any other.
Last we talked to council, we didn't have a number on that. What is that number and when did it get approved?
That number was a little less than $5,000, it was like $46.50 or $48.50. That quote came to me on Thursday or Friday of the past week, when the mayor was going out of town, the town manager was gone. I was instructed, if anything came up, to contact John Moore. I contacted John and told him what the quote was, and I needed to know how to proceed. And when I done that, he told me to get them fixed. That was a good number, which he was.
Okay.
That's what we done.
Well, do we need to all vote on that and approve it? To close the loop?
Oh, no, 'cause I don't care if it's partner.
No. Do we need to do that to close the loop?
It's a $5,000 thing, I don't know, I think it's, that sounds like kind of a normal operation item to me.
Couldn't we just approve a ordinance or adopt the policy
Yeah, about to
on
a
waiver,
certain amount, yeah.
the last
Well,
meeting?
we
do that?
did, but that's for the town manager, and without that,
In the absence of
then
the town
it's a
manager.
council,
Right.
so. It's a technical thing, so.
Do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a
I-
motion,
nothing
we go
to-
ahead and approve the
Go ahead.
$5,000 for the tubes for the,
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay.
I mean, I don't disagree with the cost or the objective, but. we have to be
Okay,
careful
so
on this.
that brings, any other questions on page 1 of 2?
nope.
That brings
Yes.
us, yes, John does.
Okay.
John, more.
961, your, what's this, a transfer to electric, that's just a fund transfer from one account to another from, that's putting 59,100 into the reserve. Says transfer
Yes,
to
yes,
electric.
That's right.
Okay, so we're looking at, with this budget, taking 59,000 and putting it into reserve. Okay,
The hydroelectric reserve.
I
okay.
didn't take enough.
All right. And you happen to know what that balance is now? What that's the one that we got that's so low because
Yeah, it's-
of all
we're
the
draining that.
generator repairs.
Yeah,
Okay,
around 200.
all right, around 200. Okay, good.
Now, there was a big reduction in 689, which is the contract we have with John out there.
Yeah.
And it went from this year, budget of 83, it went down to 50,
Yeah.
on a 60% reduction.
Yeah.
We know why?
No, that was, I think that was just a cut Ron made. I don't know how reliable that is.
I don't,
Yeah, we need,
Does John know about it?
we need to verify that one.
yeah, that's
Thanks for
one.
catching that.
That whole, I would say this, that whole area of our budget, I hope between now and next week, we could wrestle to the ground with a new operating plan. That's what we're shooting for with the dam, and it would,
So a lot of this might change.
yeah, I think so. And part of our meeting this afternoon with Dr. Marks is to address that very thing. So we can come back at the 26th and clean that up.
So-
Since it's gonna,
When we come back for the 26th, we're gonna have one more chance to make changes, is that right? Or is that meeting to approve, for the approval?
My assumption, we need to approve it.
So we'll have to make changes and approve as changed.
we could typically make minor changes there. The thing about it is, we have to be able to approve it before the end of the
I
month.
understand.
And so if there's, it's easy enough to make a line item or two change, but if we come up with something that Sam has to go back and refigure, then
We'll have to have another meeting.
you might have to have another meeting. Yeah, the idea is to button it all up at that meeting,
Well, I
right?
think-
Am I right?
I think all of this today is gonna have a substantial effect on the revenues and the tax rate, yeah, I'm glad you caught that one, Kevin, I didn't. Again, that's all I had on page 1. Are we ready?
I am. Everybody,
Page 2 is, there's 2 items there that are really troubling, number 580 and 582. We're showing $40,000 for the head gate and the hoist repairs, and that estimate was $300,000. And part of that is the helicopter to remove it in order to repair it. And of course, David's talked to the guy, and the guy said, well, you could save a lot of that by hiring your own helicopter and cutting the middleman out, but we still need that separate figure of, or was it separate on his invoice? I haven't seen the invoice yet, or the estimate, I mean.
I sent the estimate to Ron, so he somewhere.
Yeah.
But I can get that to Shannon, to where he can send it out to all of y'all.
If you would.
But yeah, exactly like you said, he said, you know, we can piecemeal it out as far as getting our own helicopter in here, renting our own equipment, you know, and stuff like that, as long as they spaced it out, and he said you could save a little money.
So he did not give you an itemized estimate, he gave you a composite estimate of 300,000?
Yes, it's not broke down,
Yeah.
every boat and that.
Yeah, see.
And I asked Ron what we were going to do about that, you know, at the end of the day, whether we go with that quote or we put it out to bids or whatever, it's still something that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
It needs to be looked at, and he was talking about putting it in with the dam project.
Well, that
Right,
would be
right.
my input. If we're talking about something approaching $300,000,
Yeah,
to me, that's a capital project. It really shouldn't be, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, Ron.
due respect to Cameron,
Ron
Commissioner Cameron's
suggested-
avoidance to debt.
Ron
That's the
said-
kind of thing that needs to get
Yeah,
financed.
Ron suggested rolling it up in the project ordinance with the dam
Yeah.
repair and all that. And I said, well, and we've still never even seen the estimate. Now, I don't know whether he left stuff that was in his office or whatever, but,
If we're gonna roll that into it, we ought to roll the 70,000, 40
Penstock.
and 30.
Yeah.
And,
what, 70?
and it really makes sense to do it that way, because we're repairing, the repairs we're doing to the dam, it's all part of the same thing, the structure and the mechanics.
It is.
Of it, I think it's particularly since we're looking at maybe, having an opportunity to get some grants on this.
Well, there's one consideration there is if we go to rolling the hydro stuff into it, part of the argument with the state on why we should not have to lower that lake in order to do those repairs is that we're talking just the dam and its infrastructure. And that was part of that argument that was going forward in order to justify certain things there. And so if we roll the hydro stuff into that project, that might jeopardize that end result. So, because we're fooling, I remember Kevin with some folks at the state or have some certain mindsets on things we should have to do and we don't think we should have to do them. But, and you said the 70, were you including that 30 for the penstock repair, John?
Yeah, the 40 and the 30.
Because I think that one's low too. I doubt seriously we would repair that penstock for
The
$30,000.
welders that we had down there making repairs on it already, estimated over $100,000
Yeah.
in repairs to the penstock.
So that's over 100K and the other one's around 300 as with the current estimate.
So
We gotta get
We're
some
approaching
quotes.
$500,000.
Yeah, I know. And there's no way that those numbers of 70 would justify those repairs.
We need to
Unless
find-
that's a this year number for part of it, and- which I have no idea what the intent was there. But that's one of the big ones I found there and that's the end of that document.
I'm gonna go look for some welders to build that ladder system over there. They use those ladder systems everywhere. I guarantee you they're not 100,000 or 50,000. I'll try to research that.
let's do that, yeah.
You
mean
Because
to-
we-
to-
these are
to
big
get up there
numbers.
to work on
We should not have just what you guys have.
300,000.
Okay, so we've finished our review and we'll get the notes.
I think as we put this together, Sam, if everybody agrees with this, let's look at, since we are looking at such a tremendous budget this year, and we've been doing our financing of the vehicles before. So can we continue along that same line? Because we ought to have some, we've been doing it long enough that some ought to be rolling off as we roll new ones on, and it really shouldn't affect the capital, the outlay should be the same. Is that right?
Relatively.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've done our review. We'll see, Sam, you'll reproduce what we've got with these changes pretty soon. Get them back to us. We'll have a chance then to review them and see what we think, and we can have some email exchanges about that so everybody can wade in.
Is the 26th gonna give you enough time to make all these changes we've talked about and stuff? And still get the information to us ahead of time?
Yeah.
What's the date?
22nd.
22nd,
Yeah.
23rd, 24th. So we got Monday and we meet Tuesday.
I do have auditors coming in Monday, but I'll get it.
Before, maybe.
Okay.
Okay, so, is there any other, business for us? If there's not, I
I'll
would.
make a motion
There he
to
goes.
adjourn.
Adjourn, Commissioner Cameron, second. Who will second?
I
Commissioner
kinda
Moore.
wanna stay. Do we have to wait?
Oh,
You stay.
you stay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.
Mr.